Did you send that picture to that college student in Washington State?
I did not.
We don't know exactly what happened here. It was a prank.
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying?
Well, let's remember this Twitter picture in question is a hack or a prank that someone posted on my Twitter page.
Oh my God, stop fucking lying.
If you like your doctor, you will be able to keep your doctor, period. If you like your health care plan, you will be able to keep your health care plan, period.
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying?
Just in case you didn't catch it the first time, let me repeat. If you like your health care system and your doctor,
no matter what you've heard, if you like your doctor or health care plan, you can keep it.
Oh my God, stop fucking lying.
We know with confidence, that the Ukrainians did not have such a system anywhere near the vicinity at that point in time. So it obviously points a very clear finger at the separatists.
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying?
The Assad regime, and only undeniably the Assad regime, unleashed an outrageous chemical attack against its own citizens.
Oh my God, stop fucking lying.
Does the NSA collect any type of data at all on millions or hundreds of millions of Americans?
No, sir.
It does not.
Not wittingly.
What I can say unequivocally is that if you are a U.S. person, the NSA cannot listen to your telephone calls, and the NSA cannot target your email.
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying?
And have not.
And have not. They cannot and have not.
Oh my God, stop fucking lying.
What happened in Benghazi was, in fact, initially a spontaneous reaction to what had just transpired hours before in Cairo.
However, U.S. military personnel knew early on that the Benghazi attack was a hostile action and not a result of a spontaneous protest triggered by an anti-Muslim video.
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying?
What difference at this point does it make?
2 years later, smoking gun emails were released, proving the administration worked immediately trying to spin the attack as something other than their own strategic failures.
Oh my God, stop fucking lying.
Basically, David Corn, a liar, says I exaggerated situations in the Falklands War and the Salvadoran War. Here's the truth. Everything I've said about my reportorial career, everything, is true. I had to spend hours last night on the phone with various reporters and crawling around my basement covered with dust trying to find documents from 33 years ago. Again, it was a miracle I found them. All because an irresponsible gutter snipe, a far-left zealot, who has attacked Fox News many times before, spit the stuff out on the net.
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying?
Since David Corn's report last week and Mr. O'Reilly's loud and bombastic response with all the threats and the vitriol and all the rest of it, Fox and Mr. O'Reilly have had a different response to new allegations that have been raised about Mr. O'Reilly's reporting since then. Today, there were new questions raised about an event that Mr. O'Reilly writes about in his book, which is about the JFK assassination. In the book, he describes traveling to Florida in 1977 to try to interview an acquaintance of JFK assassin Lee Harvey Oswald. He says that as he knocked on that man's door in Florida to try to interview him, he, quote, heard the shotgun blast that marked the suicide of the man. This is not just a story that Mr. O'Reilly told in his book. He has told it on the Fox News channel as well.
Now, I reported on this guy when I was working at WFAA TV in Dallas, Mr. Morenshield, because he taught at Bishop College in Dallas. I can't put that together. Now, I chased the Morenshield to Florida, and I was about to knock on the door where he was, his daughter's house, and he blew his brains out with a shotgun.
Really?
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, my goodness. Really? No, not really. At least not according to colleagues of Bill O'Reilly's at the time, who have said this week that he was not actually in Florida when that man killed himself at his Florida home, let alone standing on the guy's doorstep and able to hear the shotgun blast.
Oh my God, stop your fucking lying.
Mr. O'Reilly has also faced criticism on another matter for saying that he saw nuns killed in El Salvador. Here's him making that claim on Fox News right after the Newtown Elementary School massacre in a wide-ranging discussion about the nature of evil.
I don't think a lot of people understand. My mother, for example, doesn't understand evil. When I would tell her, hey, Mom, I was in El Salvador and I saw nuns get shot in the back of the head, she almost couldn't process it. She couldn't process it.
Mr. O'Reilly did not see nuns get shot in the back of the head in El Salvador, even if that is what he told his poor mom. American Catholic nuns were killed in El Salvador in December 1980. Mr. O'Reilly did not see them killed. He did not visit El Salvador until the following year. Tonight, Fox News gave us a statement from Mr. O'Reilly about where that came from, since there's no way he could have actually seen what he says he saw. Their statement is this, quote, while in El Salvador, reporters were shown horrendous images of violence that were never broadcast, including depictions of nuns who were murdered. The mention of the nuns on my program came the day of the Newtown massacre. The segment was about evil and how hard it is for folks to comprehend it. I used the murdered nuns as an example of that evil. That's what I was referring to when I say I saw nuns get shot in the back of the head. No one could possibly take that segment as reporting on El Salvador. That statement from Mr. O'Reilly tonight saying he was not literally talking about El Salvador. He was just talking about evil in the context of Newtown. That's the only reason he brought it up. That does not explain, however, why Mr. O'Reilly said the exact same thing 7 years before Newtown ever happened.
I've seen much worse behavior on the masculine side than the feminine side in my life. All right, I've seen guys gun down nuns in El Salvador.
No, he hasn't.
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying? Oh my God, stop your fucking lying.
The story actually started with a terrible moment a dozen years back during the invasion of Iraq. 2 of our 4 helicopters were hit by ground fire, including the one I was in.
No kidding.
RPG and AK-47. Our traveling NBC News team was rescued, surrounded, and kept alive by an armored mechanized platoon from the U.S. Army 3rd Infantry.
No, they weren't.
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying?
I want to apologize. I said I was traveling in an aircraft that was hit by RPG fire. I was instead in a following aircraft. We all landed after the ground fire incident.
A little late for an apology. A white lie 12 years ago is nothing compared to the black lies about Iraq NBC and other networks told to back the invasion in the first place.
Oh my God, stop your fucking lying.
Part of the reason we went into Iraq was the main reason we went into Iraq at the time was we thought he had weapons of mass destruction. It turns out he didn't, but he had the capacity to make weapons of mass destruction. But I also talked about the human suffering in Iraq. Intelligence gathered by this and other governments leaves no doubt that the Iraqi regime continues to possess and conceal some of the most lethal weapons ever devised. What did Iraq have to do with what?
The attack on the World Trade Center.
Nothing.
I have not suggested there's a connection between Iraq and 9/11.
And nobody's ever suggested in this administration that Saddam Hussein ordered the attack.
With respect to 9/11, of course, you've had the story that's been public out there. The Czechs alleged that Mohammed Atta, the lead attacker, met in Prague with a senior Iraqi intelligence official 5 months before the attack.
Nobody's ever suggested that the attacks of September the 11th were ordered by Iraq.
Now, what the Vice President said was that he has been involved with al-Qaeda.
We've learned that Iraq has trained al-Qaeda members in bomb making, in poisons, and deadly gases. The terrorists attacked us and killed 3,000 of our citizens before we started the freedom agenda in the Middle East. He's a threat because he is dealing with al-Qaeda. The war on terror is, you can't distinguish between al-Qaeda and Saddam when you talk about the war on terror.
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying? Oh my God, stop your fucking lying. Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying? Oh my God, stop your fucking lying. Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying? Oh my God, stop your fucking lying. Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying? Oh my God, stop your fucking lying.